News from the nest here on this Turn It Up Tuesday. Isaiah Likely, one of the 19 unrestricted free agents that the Ravens have here in 2026. 25 years old, 14 games last year, only one touchdown. Mm-hmm. And I broke down the stats a couple of weeks back where 2024, Likely and Andrews combined for over 1,000 yards, almost 20 touchdowns, 100 catches. Last year, didn't even come close to duplicating that production. Likely's really dipped, never really got it going after the foot injury. But at 25 years old, he hits free agency, the open market for the first time. The Ravens have already extended Mark Andrews, paying him a hefty salary. DaCosta did say at the combine he'd like to keep Likely, almost kind of explain where there are scenarios in which he could do so. I don't see it. Jeff Zrebiec, by the way, breaking down the list, he said Likely goes, and we pretty much talked about it right after they signed Andrews. Well, Likely's gone, and I would think it would be a stunning turn of events if he wasn't.
Bob, I was just thinking, because you mentioned like which teams had money. You know who'd be a good fit for Likely? Chargers. I think the Chargers would be in Mike McDaniel offense and Ortiz being out there and stuff, former Ravens.
Well, the Gadsden had kind of a breakout year for them.
Yeah.
The young tight end. But
they have two.
Hey.
Yeah.
We can improvise and adapt in play calling here for sure.
I think, if he doesn't get the money that he wants, which maybe he doesn't, which I'm guessing he's going to probably want at least what Andrews got. If he's not getting that, he'll do a 1-year deal and then, try to have a big year and then go make his money.
Yeah, Chargers almost $84.5 million out there on the open market. What do you think, Nolan? This is kind of a foregone conclusion that Isaiah Likely has played his last snap with the Ravens?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no doubt about it. Although what Vinny was saying there, it is interesting. We've just assumed that his value across the league was regarded as pretty high, right? But it's all been potential-based. You look back on his career, injury-wise, blocked by Andrews, whatever it was, he never had that one season where it was like, okay, all the pieces came together. This was the full breakout season. And maybe some teams out there, or all the teams out there, view him and say, well, we like the potential, but I'm not paying for a what if, at least not that much money. So whether it's, not meeting his financial demands or saying we're not comfortable doing anything more than just a 1-year prove it, his market could be lower than we long assumed.
Well, I guess what you would do is, what you would study if you really liked him and we're gonna pay him. You would look at the film of the games. All right, let's go look. If I'm a team, let's go look at the games where Andrews was out and he was the guy, and then see what we would have.
Second half of 23.
Pretty damn good.
There's your story right there. There's Dave Casper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's something, right? But ultimately, I think the conversation around Likely has just been, well, man, just give him a shot, see what he can do. And if you're looking for what free agency really should be, which is more of a slam dunk guarantee, at least for guys that go early next week, he's far from that.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to be off the board on Monday or Tuesday.
Charlie Kolar is another free agent. 27 years old. Not the pass-catching threat that Likely or Andrews is, even though he's had his moments, but more of a blocking guy. Jeff Zrebiec thinks he stays.
Yeah,
maybe out of necessity, because outside of Andrews, you don't have any tight ends.
I mean, yeah, because really when you look at it, Josh Oliver was a blocking tight end, and he got 3 years, $21 million when he went to Minnesota. So he got $7 a year to be a blocker, and he was a legit blocker.
And he can bring a little to the pass-catching equation, too.
Whereas the point I'm making is Kolar's not your dominant blocker. I mean, when I watched him at Iowa State, he could not block, I mean, he's big. He's what, 6'6", 6'7", 260, 265. He's not a knock you off the ball guy. He's a shield guy.
Well, according to Jeff Zrebiec, the Ravens' value is blocking. Charlie Kolar there. All right, let's get to the defense. Dre'Mont Jones, traded for him. 29 years old, had 7 sacks last year, 2.5 with the Ravens. And, hey, let's not get crazy. He wasn't Terrell Suggs.
No.
Or Bolware or Matthew Judon, for that matter. But he tried. And you noticed him at times.
Yep.
But noticed him enough where that you make him a priority in regards to, he's part of a pass rush that wasn't all that great. And he had a half a season in Baltimore. I like him, but I'd still want to see what else is out there. You know what I mean? Jeff Zrebeck says he gone.
Yeah.
He goes.
Yeah, probably so. He'll probably, maybe he gets more money than the Ravens would want to pay. But I thought that he did a nice job in the run stuff, too. I thought I thought it was a good move, for the Ravens, at the time. And you know what? That's to me, if I'm Eric, that's a Jesse Minter call. When they evaluate them and stuff, when they evaluate the free agents, and they rank them and everything else. And, he's not going to be the number one guy in our rankings. All right. So, all right, let's try to get boom, boom, boom. And and they may come back to him if they don't get the guys they, prefer.
Rough estimate on his market value. This is from Spot Track, $10.3 million a year. So, that's not. My reaction to that was that's actually somewhat affordable. We were talking pass rush contracts, but again, you're talking about a guy here who's probably going to be in that 5-6 sack range every year. This past season, splitting time between Tennessee and Baltimore was a career year in a lot of ways, but he still maxed out at 7. And in my opinion, just far too quiet in the sack production realm, especially for what the Ravens needed out of him after that trade. He was disrupting. Vinny said it. He was great against the run. Yeah. He's good all-around player, very balanced. Yes, tries hard, seemed to fit in really well in the locker room. Can't say a bad thing about him. But he's not that bona fide elite pass rush. Or I don't even know if he's going to have the chance at like an outlier year where he has 12 or 13 sacks.
I don't see that.
I feel like he's going to be in that 5-6 range his entire career.
What do they say the value for Oweh is?
Good question.
And by the way, with Dre'Mont Jones, getting back to him real quick, he had that little burst of games in Tennessee where he got most of his sacks. He got his 5 sacks with them within the span of a couple of weeks.
So by comparison here, same website, Spot Track, 19.3, your annual projected value for Oweh.
Woo! Who had no sacks when he was in Baltimore and then got 7.5 in L.A., and we'll get into all of that good stuff when we come back, talk about that very subject. Kevin Ostreicher, Kyle Van Noy's another free agent. 34 years old. And David Ajabo. Remember, Ravens got a steal with him. Only one stealing was David Ajabo.